So finally in step 4, we're going to learn how to name these guys. So step 4 starts off by saying that if your last priority group is in the back, I'm not even going to read the rest yet. Let's just define that first part. The last priority group is always going to be which group? Group number 4. So let's actually just redefine that as 4, because that's the easiest way to say it. So if 4 is in the back, now what does the back mean? In 3D structures, that always means a dash. So this is actually starting off by saying that if 4 is on the dash, okay, then we're going to trace a path from the highest priority to the lowest priority, okay? Now what that literally means is that we're going to draw arrows from my number 1 priority to my number 2, and from my number 2 priority to my number 3, okay? But remember, so that's from highest to lowest. Now remember, there's 4 groups. What happens to number 4? Do I also draw an arrow to that one? No, because you're always going to ignore group number 4 because it's on the dash. Okay? Since it's in the back of the molecule, I don't look at it. I only look at groups 1, 2, and 3. So now I trace that path. And if that path happens to look like a clockwise path, meaning does it look in the direction that a clock would move in? Okay? Now, for this, you're going to need to know what an analog clock looks like. I know that for maybe some of you younger folks, maybe you're not used to seeing those too often, but we're just going to have to stretch ourselves a little bit. Clockwise rotation is going to get an R letter, okay? And a counterclockwise rotation is going to get an S letter, hence the name R and S, okay? So let's just bring that example that we did before. Those priorities are going to be the exact same priorities. And let's see if we can assign an R or an S to this chiral center. Okay, so those priorities should be correct. This is my chiral center. So now the first thing I have to ask myself is my number 4 on the dash? Perfect, it is. So that means I can use this rule. So this next rule says I draw arrows from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, and then finally back from 3 to 1. What about number 4? I ignore it because it's in the back. I don't want to use number 4. So, is this a clockwise rotation or a counterclockwise rotation? This is clockwise, folks. And since it's clockwise, this is going to be considered an R isomer, okay? So, we haven't learned how to incorporate this into the full name yet, but this is considered an R. Awesome, right? Awesome. So let's go ahead and move on to step number 5.